If you've seen any of my videos, it becomes extremely apparent that I am a fan of a particular series named Made in Abyss. I hold it in such high regard because of the story, characters, and art. While none of these things individually are too outstanding in regards to other series, put together, Made in Abyss creates an experience I've yet to find anywhere else. The world of Made in Abyss is incomparable to any other I've seen, with intricately detailed environments which elude feelings of both dread and wonder. The Abyss as a concept is one of the most genuinely fascinating mysteries I've encountered, and no other series has made me so eager for information. I've gone back and forth through wikis and documents, whatever resource I can find, all in an attempt to learn every detail and facet of this world. Something about the series just fills me with a sense of nostalgia, which is no doubt intentional, as it's the same feeling described by characters in the series itself. On that note, Made in Abyss has some very well-written, fleshed-out characters. I do admit that some characters feel lackluster and need more development, but for most of the main cast, there's a subtlety and character depth that you don't see too often in other series. Take Rico, for example. Rico, on the surface, seems like a simple, generic character. Unconditionally optimistic, kind, innocent, has the simple goal of finding their mother, something that's been seen in many other series. And despite whatever hardship, they will persevere through the abyss with the power of friendship. They don't seem all too interesting. However, it's once you look past all these generalizations that you see a deeper and more subversive and complex character. Their optimism isn't simply a strength of their character, it's a result of their upbringing in a society that is fully accustomed to death and suffering. The risk of death doesn't scare Rico because they've been taught to idolize those that risk their life. Giving your life to the abyss is considered to be honorable. The struggle of delvers is a rite of passage. Her goal of finding her mother, which you see in many other characters, is also questionable. She herself admits that she sees it as more of an excuse, a means of giving her a reason to reach the bottom. The letter found in Liza's belongings never addressed her, and it's questionable whether Liza even wrote it. Rico simply assumes that it's her mother calling to her because she enjoys the romanticism, similar to her many ideas of Reg's purpose on the surface. While she does want to meet her mother, that was never her true goal. I'm sure that, if given the choice between returning to the surface with Liza and continuing her adventure, never meeting her, Rico would choose the latter. I'm doubly sure of this, considering it is heavily implied that, due to her nature as a corpse reanimated using the curse-warding box, she is subconsciously drawn to the bottom of the abyss. This is most likely a major reason why Rico is so perseverant. How much of her motivation is simply a result of the lure of the abyss? How much has our cast been influenced by the abyss? Is it merely coincidence that they've made it so far, or is it a result of some greater force? Even Rico, a seemingly simple character, can provide a great deal of insight and intrigue to the greater forces of the story. Every seemingly positive trait can be traced back to some sinister origin. Don't get me wrong, Rico isn't some mastercraft of character writing, but at the same time, they aren't as generic as they seem. There are subtle nuances in their character that aren't immediately apparent. There are many other well-written characters as well, some simple, some complex, some provide a deep insight into the world and the deeper messages of the story. However, some just simply look cool. In fact, even background characters are very easy to become attached to, simply because they have such interesting designs. The entire series is full of fascinating concepts and art, which is another big appealing factor of the series. It just looks really good. I love the style, the small details, the backgrounds, the character designs. I enjoy almost everything about it. While some other series may have better overall quality, there is simply something about the art in Made in Abyss that resonates with me. I've heard the art of Made in Abyss be described as similar to a storybook. There's some whimsical quality to it that just creates a perfect atmosphere. And I'm sure that this atmosphere is a big factor that makes the Abyss so appealing to the characters in the story as well. Everything I've said so far, all the praise I've been showering the series with, it really makes it seem like there are no flaws, but that's obviously not true. Despite how much I love this series, there are some things I just can't support. And I'm sure this is obvious to many people familiar with the series. The blatant and gratuitous sexualization of children. It's been beaten to death, but it's simply something that can't be ignored. Everything I've described about this series, everything I enjoy, I have to enjoy it in spite of these aspects. Some people try to justify it, some people try to ignore it, and some people avoid the series because of it. But no matter how you feel about it, there's no doubt that it affects how the series is perceived. Personally, I dislike how the author inserts fetishes into an otherwise great story. It's so bad that it taints your view of the entire series. It makes it difficult to discern the author's intent. Are the characters children, to contrast their innocence to the harsh cruelty of the abyss? Or are they children simply because the author likes kids? Does it show these characters wedding themselves to cause discomfort and emphasize the realism? Or is it because the author has a piss fetish? Once you think about the author's intent, it makes it difficult to defend any questionable aspects of the series. Things that would otherwise have reasonable justifications, like a character being shirtless, become suspect once you take into context all the problematic scenes before it. It is for this reason that I cannot truly support this series or its author. And that makes me truly upset, because Nanashi is such a great character, and I love Nanashi. They are so fluffy and cute. I love Nanashi so much. Nanashi, I love Nanashi.